Okay, then let's start. And hello, everyone, and welcome to all of you joining us for today's webinar. And my name is Victoria Pogrebniak, and I'm a product manager at PPM Express. And today with me on the call is our solutions consultant, Gennady Guskov. And we're really excited to see so many of you here today. So let's start and quickly go through our agenda for today. And today we'll be talking about the crucial role of a PMO in establishing project and portfolio management processes. We'll be discussing what is the current state of PMO and what are the future trends. And we'll also pay particular attention to Jira as a work management tool and see how we can leverage Jira and PPM Express and drive successful project and portfolio management outcomes. We'll also show a quick practical demonstration of many things that we will be talking today. And as Gennady has mentioned, we'll also have a quick Q&A session in the end of the webinar. So this webinar is not just a one-sided speech, and we encourage you to participate through a Q&A form, and we'll be reviewing and also questions after the webinar.
Victoria, something happened with your slide deck. It's no longer there. We're glad to see you, but the slide deck is gone.
Let me check 1 second.
So we are sorry about the technical issues. So Victoria is going to reshare the slide deck as soon as possible. And we are going to continue. In the meantime, while more people are joining, I would like everybody to know that we're recording this webinar, that the link will be available. And we've started a few minutes ago, but unfortunately, we lost the slide deck with the technical problem. So right now, Victoria is resharing the slide deck, and we're going to continue from there. Thank you all for your patience.
Okay, let me know if you can see it now.
No, not yet.
Just a second.
Yeah, now it's there. Thank you.
Okay, so let's move further then. And let's start with some quick definitions first. And we are now on the slide, what is a PMO? And in simple words, PMO is a dedicated group of people within a company that supports project management efforts and activities. And they ensure that use of best practices and standards, they maximize a project value in the organization. And the PMO can represent 3 different aspects: project, program, or portfolio management office. In small organizations, all 3 functions are typically managed by the single office. It's typically a project management office. In larger organization, it can be also a practice to have separate units and departments dedicated to each function. But still, the value of PMO extends beyond just managerial oversight. And in a new world of remote work, of hybrid work, when agile management is taken over, and when artificial intelligence is rising, having a PMO in place and evolving it becomes really important. And we can now observe a clear trend of the evolution of PMOs. And initially, the role was primarily focused on overseeing some individual projects to ensure that they are completed within scope, within time frame, within budget. However, now they have transformed into an organizational unit that maintains bird's eye view of the whole portfolio, making sure that projects really complement each other, making sure they're working towards a strategy and achieving these organizational strategic goals. But the question is, what is next? And the future of PMOs is set to be even more integral, even more dynamic. And first, they will have to become more agile. This means that they will have to act as one of the leaders of change, acting as a leader in fostering a culture of agile project management. So the different teams and work areas can also perform and do their work to the full potential. Secondly, as a future PMOs will also emphasize skills development and people management. And as you can see, projects become more complex, more cross-functional, and also certain routine tasks will become automated through AI tools. And the importance of soft skills in this way is rising, such skills as leadership, emotional intelligence, and change management. And at the same time, PMOs will need to leverage advanced technologies and data analytics to enhance decision-making. And although they can now monitor project portfolios and have a good grasp of their current health and status, many still lack the possibility to really predict issues, to predict project risk and miss deadlines. And this also means integrating artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics into project management processes to gain better insights and to predict potential issues, make predictive decisions. And in that way, PMOs should also facilitate a transition to PPM platform during this digital transformation. And it has already been proven that Excel is not the best choice for project portfolio management. Although many still use it to monitor the status of projects and inform senior management about that, if there are already some project and portfolio management tools in place, it's also important for PMOs to make sure that these tools are seamlessly integrated on each levels and that they are foster collaboration at all levels. And by gaining this holistic view of the organization needs to manage projects and strategy, PMOs can clearly say some expectations from the PPM platform. But how PMOs can help with project and portfolio management tools? Firstly, they can advise on the appropriate project management tool for each project type, because there are different project types within one organization and also even within one team. And then they can also extend project management processes to the portfolio management level. And as a PMOs transition from project management to portfolio management, it also oversees the tool expansion to the portfolio management level. And in that way, PMOs should ensure that chosen tools can easily integrate and support for portfolio management activities, while also accommodating the needs for different projects. And meanwhile, you can see that many organizations have different tools for different teams and departments. You can easily see that your tech team is working in Jira, that outsourced customer projects are in Azure DevOps, and that marketing team is working in Monday.com, and so on. And that makes transferring to all-in-one tool challenging for the teams, creating this friction, creating this resistance to change. And this is ways platforms like PPM Express become invaluable for PMOs. But what exactly is PPM Express? And PPM Express can help businesses in their digital transformation by offering a single platform to manage all project and portfolio activities, and at the same time also allowing their teams to work in the tools they like. And it gives a clear project management structure, coordination, simple resource planning, and also total transparency across all projects. With PPM Express, you don't need to give up on the tools you love. It integrates with all modern project management tools across Jira software, Azure DevOps, boards, Microsoft Project Planner, Smartsheet, Monday.com, among others, into a single big picture view. It also simplifies decision-making by providing more than 200 easy-to-understand dashboards and reports that show portfolio and project progress, budget, risks, and how resources are used. And moreover, we are currently working on integrating artificial intelligence to remove the noise from the project monitoring. And this integration will be already quite a step towards proactive risk mitigation, towards continuous anomaly detection, in order to deliver this project forecast so that PMOs could predict potential issues and make proactive decisions. And now we are at a pivotal point in our webinar where we'll move to in-depth exploration of how Jira, with the help of PPM Express, can support PMO's activities and expand portfolio management horizons. And let's start by project planning and tracking. And with the integration of PPM Express, Jira's work management capabilities are enhanced. PPM Express aggregates data from Jira and basically enriches the data by adding more visibility and order, by letting you to group projects into portfolios, into programs, by giving you a top-level view of all of your projects. And this integration gives you a full view of project timelines, of all the issues, milestones, making planning and tracking easier. And moving on to collaboration and project lifecycle management. Both Jira and PPM Express offer tools that foster collaboration among teams. With PPM Express, collaboration is boosted because it also offers a central place to see all projects and programs on different levels. So the project managers and PMOs and top-level management can easily view this information. They can connect to MS Teams channel on each level and also be on the same page with relevant stakeholders. And when it comes to resource management, PPM Express significantly enhances Jira capabilities. Resource planning is done on a project level for projects from Jira and also from other platforms if you have them. And at the same time, it also allows you to aggregate data that were done in Jira on a lower level, like epics or issuers, different issuer types. And you can watch this resource use and availability as it happens, making sure that resources are well distributed across project. Risk management is another crucial PMO's activity. And PPM Express provides a risk matrix to visualize, evaluate, and prioritize risks across the entire project portfolio. And in this way, a PMO can have a holistic view of all potential risk, whether it is one specific project or the whole program, or even the whole project portfolio in one place. And finally, let's talk about reports and insights. The reports are often considered as a final product that can be consumed by the stakeholders. So they vary in complexity, a level of detail, and emphasize some aspects, and also filter out the clutter. And they help translate values in money and hours equivalent into some understanding on what is good, what is bad, and what could have been done better on the project, portfolio, resource, or team level. And reports can also enable the opposite process. They can reveal the cost of a given decision. So PPM Express features a great collection of reports on health, status, progress, and many other aspects for you, ready to download, publish, and share with your colleagues. And now that we have covered the practical aspects, I also would like to introduce my colleague Gennady, who will delve into the practical aspects of integrating Jira with PPM Express.
Hello, and thank you for the introduction. Let me take over the screen sharing, and then I'll just ask Victoria to confirm that you all can see my screen. Okay.
Yeah, we can see your screen. Thank you.
Okay, great. So yeah, let me illustrate certain points that were brought up earlier by Victoria, and show you how PPM Express can address certain issues, can help you achieve certain goals, and be useful to you as the product to extend, to enhance, to enrich Jira, and not only Jira functionality, but in general, the capabilities of the project management office. First of all, the product that we have developed is called PPM Express, where PPM Express stands for the project and portfolio management. And the project is kind of a central entity for us. So everything starts with a definition of a project. Basically, like Victoria mentioned, different teams may prefer different tools to track their projects. They can be managed with different complexity, with different level of detail, but nevertheless, the PMO will need these projects to be somehow aggregated, somehow tracked together in a more or less universal way. They may need to address the different weaknesses in terms of the project tracking with the certain techniques, with the certain ways to address the governance issues. And that's where PPM Express is really useful. So for example, the screen that you see right now is the list of projects. The projects that were created in PPM Express or were added from the other tools, were added from the other systems. We support a variety of those tools, including Jira, that is on the topic of our today's webinar, but it can encompass much more than that. And from this list only, it would be hard to see where does this project come from? So what is the source of that project? And in kind of in a broader sense, it may not be important at all. So it isn't relevant for the project management office where the project is managed, as long as it is managed according to the best practices or according to the best capabilities of the set system, and the project management office can later enhance it somehow using the tools like PPM Express. Sometimes the project is already, the project itself is already well defined. In the other cases, this definition can be done by the project management office when they use the sources like Jira, and they connect to those sources using PPM Express, for example. And what Victoria mentioned in her presentation, basically, in the PPM Express, there is this series of series of options that you can use in order to connect to systems like Jira with different level of detail. So it may be a Jira project, it may be a Jira epic, it may be a Jira initiative, and also in the future, we plan to introduce the way to kind of cross the boundary of a project in Jira, so that the PPM Express project will be equivalent to something else, to something that combines the different areas in different Jira projects that's related to the Jira connector itself. Basically, after the projects are loaded, the project management office can already work with them. And one of the first things that the project management office can do, and that's very easily done in PPM Express, that's to define the programs and portfolios. And for example, create a view like this one. So here is the general admin. General and admin is a portfolio that holds all those projects together. And to some extent, or with the certain parameters, these projects are rolled up into that portfolio. In terms of the individual projects, the different parameters can matter for the project management office. Different things can be tracked, and PPM Express is very flexible in that area too. So on the individual project level, there may be something that you want to load from Jira. There may be something that you want to track, but you're not tracking it just yet. So we allow to do that in PPM Express, and there are multiple project areas like what you see here, like the summary, statuses, key dates, schedule, details, team, sprints, or iterations. Can be multiple things in PPM Express that you can track. The project management office typically wants a certain level of visibility over the relevant project information, but the other representatives in the organization with the different roles may be present in the tools like PPM Express too. So not only the project management office themselves, not only the project managers, not only the portfolio managers may be the audience for this tool, but also the stakeholders, the executives, or even the end users, if it's beneficial for them to gain more visibility, they can be a part of this audience. They can gain something from having access to PPM Express. And for example, if I wanted some other view on the same project, I wanted to emphasize some other things, I could easily do that by reconfiguring, by applying a certain other view, and then giving access to that view to users with a certain role or the certain permission. That's something we can do here. Then in terms of the synchronized data, when the data is synchronized, when it's not tracked within PPM Express, there we can fully preview everything that we've got from the systems like Jira. So we can take a look at the different issues that we've got from Jira, different team members as the resources. We can take a look at the iterations or sprints, and then we can see all that in the respective sections. Like, for example, in the Jira schedule, so the backlog that we're getting from Jira as a part of the given project, we can do a few things. So firstly, we can make sure that all the elements have been successfully retrieved from the PPM Express. When I'm helping customers to do the onboarding in PPM Express, that's one of the first things I'd like to do with them, to make sure that the data is successfully synchronizing. Then the next step would be to make sure that all the relevant parameters for those issues for this backlog is also a part of that synchronization. So if the customer is tracking the dates in Jira, whether on the issue level or on the dates for the sprints, and they're assigning issues to the sprints, that's something that we can pull in PPM Express, and you can see kind of in the background this timeline that I have for different elements that were synchronized from Jira. So we make sure that this can be retrieved, this can be populated, and the data that's populated here actually makes sense to whoever is managing that project. So that shouldn't be some dates. That should be something that was populated in Jira that we're properly retrieving and properly processing, so that we later visualize it and help people understand and analyze the backlog, analyze what they have, what they're getting from Jira. In addition to that, multiple other things, multiple other parameters on the item level can be relevant, and the different project managers or different project management office, they have slightly different approaches to that. They manage slightly different level of detail. That's where we verify that everything's good, everything is there. And if there is the data, for example, on the effort that we're getting, then we should verify that the data is there with this synchronized set of issues in the backlog. So with that synchronization already in place and running, what we can start doing is to analyze the activities, the resources were assigned. So we can have a view like this one, and this is a kind of a bimodal view. So here in PPM Express, we can view that demo user Attila Biber is just one of the members in my demo instance. So I can see something that this user has. Basically, on their behalf, I can see something that's assigned to them, something in terms of the in terms of the elements. I can understand what are those elements, what kind of parameters do they have, and also, if relevant, the statuses, the health of these elements. I can also see that, oh, if that person has access to PPM Express, they are able to see the same thing. They are able to see all of their activities across all the different projects, and more importantly, across the different systems. So Victoria mentioned that PPM Express supports a variety of tools and we do not force the project managers, or we do not force the teams to change the tool of their choice. So if they're working with Planner instead of Jira, or if they work with Project for the Web, or if they work with Monday.com, they can continue working in that system. If that system still satisfies the requirements for the project management office, or the project management office with the help of PPM Express can successfully bring that together and enrich that to the point which is useful to them, then it's absolutely fine. But then all this list, all this view across the board can be relevant both for the PMO and for the end user too. Yet another thing that we can do, and that Victoria mentioned in her presentation, is the resource planning. So except for the content, except for the data that we can get from the systems like Jira, and that's something that is already there. So that's something that's already being tracked in Jira or in some other systems. We can plan in advance in terms of the resource allocations. So we can create those allocations for multiple projects, and we can understand how these allocations interact. So what would be there if we were to allocate a certain resource, a certain portion of their time to a given project, or to 2 projects, to 3 projects, to half a dozen projects. So that's something we are able to see, and we're able to analyze within PPM Express. It's a very powerful capability, and even more updates are coming this way. So there would be even more capabilities that are available, what we're adding into PPM Express. Finally, the information that we have synchronized, or that we have populated in PPM Express, that we have collected so far, can be presented, can be shown in a variety of ways. It's the information about the progress, the health, the utilization. Many things can be useful to the project management office. So it can be done, for example, like if you like this cross-project view with the different projects, with their timelines, with the different parameters, with the different fields, you can just capture that in a plain old school picture and include that picture into your slide deck. So that's very simple, and that's working, and that's kind of saves a lot of time. Then you can go slightly more complex, and then you can create a custom build roadmap. So it's something that you need to do. So it's not something that's dynamically created by PPM Express, unlike the previous view. But on the other hand, this one is much more powerful. So there you can freely combine different kinds of elements. You can freely combine different projects, different portfolios. So the capabilities here are, if not endless, then at least very, very powerful. And finally, the Power BI reports that we're offering, that Victoria also mentioned, we have several report packs. There are general purpose packs like this one, for example, that I'm showing you right now, which helps you analyze the project health, the program health, the portfolio health, like the different things, different level of detail within the project. And then there can be specialized packs like regarding the resource management, or regarding the ideation, or a recently released pack that we have for the risks and issues and action items management, or the RAID pack that's been just released. And this list is extending. So we're adding more functionality to the product. We are trying to accommodate the needs that our customers have. And the more feedback we're getting, the more diverse feedback we're getting, the better the product becomes. And we're happy to help our customers. We're happy to work with you, with all of you, and create something that would be very useful in the current PMO status, with the future PMO, with the artificial intelligence or with some help with the more old school procedures, with the more straightforward calculations without any kind of guessing, with a strict set of rules. Everybody works as they want to work. Everybody has their goals, and we're ready. We're trying to help with achieving those goals for different organizations. We're trying to help them manage their projects more efficiently, manage their portfolios more efficiently. So that's what PPM Express was created for, and that's the direction it's evolving in. So with that said, thank you for watching. I really hope that the information we shared and the demo that I just shown was useful to you. We're eager now to hear your questions, and I already see that there is something in the Q&A section, and we'll also be happy to talk to you after this webinar. So there would be a follow-up email where you could use this information from an email to directly work with us. So tell us about the challenges that you have, tell us about the goals that you have, and we are ready to help you. If you do not have the PPM Express instance yet, we'll help you create one. If you already are the customer or you are evaluating PPM Express, you know that we're ready to help you, and you know that we'll be working with you to make sure that you're satisfied with the product and that PPM Express can be a good fit for you. So with that in mind, let's go to the Q&A part. So I'll ask Victoria to bring back the slide deck, and then we'll go to the questions. Okay, great. So let me check the questions that are available, and then we'll address them one by one. So I'll read the questions aloud so that everybody can know their question has been answered. Okay, I'll start actually from the bottom. And I have to note that not all the questions that you ask may be answered in the webinar, unfortunately, but we will be happy to work with you if that's the case. If indeed it's not possible to answer your question in a webinar or show something or answer, we can get back to you and make sure that we talk about how this can be achieved, what can be done, or what are the features in PPM Express that you can use to achieve what you want. Okay. So in terms of the roadmap, there is a question about the example of the roadmap level to the project level. So the roadmap that I showed you is basically it consists of multiple elements. So the different bars that were in the roadmap, they are different activities, but what's very interesting, what's very good and about the PPM Express is that those activities don't have to be a specific entity. So you can create a roadmap that's on the project level, that basically by including the different milestones and individual activities into that roadmap. So PPM Express allows you to do that. And that roadmap I showed you can be easily the project level roadmap with the different bars being different activity, like the milestones and issues from, for example, from Jira. Then the roadmap can be on a different level. The roadmap can span multiple projects and can contain elements from multiple projects in the same space. Probably different lanes, probably even the same lane within the roadmap, but it can be created like that. Finally, there could be very, very high level roadmap with the projects being the bars. And there, it's only the customization of this roadmap, the custom lanes, the custom coloring, or the different arrangements make it different from the static view that you're already getting automatically from the projects page. So in the projects page, there are also timelines that correspond to the projects, but this is the current state of things. In the roadmap, you can be very flexible about how do you define what should be there or what shouldn't be there. Unfortunately, with that, I need to stop and say that we can get back to you and help you configure the roadmap you want on the level that you want. Okay. The next question is about the Jira. Oh, my colleague is actually reminding me about the question I've had today from a customer regarding the custom issue types or custom fields on the existing types in Jira. So this was asked by an actual customer, and basically we allow adding more fields. Like in PPM Express, the fields are configurable, the mapping is configurable. So the content that we synchronize from Jira is there. So anything that you have in Jira, anything that's useful to you in terms of the analysis, you can synchronize that. You can incorporate that into what you have in PPM Express, or what you want to have in PPM Express. So that's completely possible. The same can be said about the other connections too, like for example, Azure DevOps connection features the mapping, the Monday.com, the project for the web connection features the mapping too. So the more system itself is capable of, like the source system, the more data you can typically bring into PPM Express. So this is kind of as a rule. But then of course, the PPM Express features its own task management module that is also very, very, very capable. So if something needs to be tracked right here, if you were using tools like Google Spreadsheets before or Excel before, and some projects just don't make it to Jira or don't make it to Azure DevOps or to some other complex systems, but you don't want to manage that in 3 different sources, you're always welcome to create that in PPM Express. Okay, I see 2 more questions, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Any other questions too? The question about a definition of a project in PPM Express, the project that comes from Jira. Both of us, Victoria and myself, have briefly touched on that. So right now, PPM Express allows connecting to a Jira project and make it a PPM Express project, or it's possible to connect to the Jira board and the certain parent element in Jira. And the parent element can support your custom hierarchy. So if you've created the initiatives level and initiatives have their children, or something like Epic have their children, or some other elements, all of this can be loaded into PPM Express, so it can be there. And the last question that I see, if there are any more questions like that are just coming, you can type I have a question, but then post the question itself later. The last one that I see right now is about the future of the project and portfolio management with the AI. So I don't think there will be so much change with the AI in place, because we're already using some of the features that are that can be attributed to AI. And AI itself is a very broad term. It's not a single element. It's not something very, very strictly defined. So we're already using some kind of automation. We're already using some machine learning to create the statuses for the projects, portfolios, and programs. With the AI capabilities, with the latest developments, what we are planning to add, the certain, if not predictions, then probably hints for both the portfolio and project managers. Probably indications, some analysis on the gaps that you have. It would be just a starter. So it's like more like an assistant. It's certainly not a decision maker, certainly not something that can replace people and make the decisions on their behalf. But certainly as a kind of an assistant with perfect memory, with the ability to dive into level of detail needed as needed. So it should be configurable, should be nice to work with. And of course, if you don't like it, then you can just disable that AI and work the old school way. So no problem with that. I'm just reminding you that if there are any more questions and you have a long question, you can start typing in the chat or in the Q&A section, sorry, that you have a question, and then post the question itself a little bit later on. So we'll just give people a few more minutes to post any questions. And if there are no more questions, then we can end the webinar. I see a thank you. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for attending. Okay, so if there are any follow-up questions, and also for anybody who's watching this webinar in the recording, we're always open. So in the follow-up email, we'll have all the context. We'll have all the information to get back to us. So please feel free to. And then we'll address those questions separately. And just a suggestion, probably, if there are some larger questions, if there are some larger topics you want to be addressed, please feel free to send over that as well. We may want to discuss that with you, or probably that would be a great idea for a new webinar. We'll be glad to deliver something new as something useful to you again, and see you in the new webinar. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Yes, and also from my side, also thank you again, and thank you again for your time and participation.